Hello Knife World, Alex here bringing you another video. Today I have a knife that I've had for a long time. When I got out of customs I kind of moved most of my pieces. This one actually stayed with me, that was probably around 2017. And then it's still with me today here in 2025. So the reason I'm filming this now is because it got back from a spa treatment where it got some new hardware. I got the clip refinished here. So I figured I'd show it to you while it's nice and new. So I'll show you some of the packaging they have. I don't have the original packaging for this anymore just because it got lost in a move or something, but they went ahead and sent me fresh packaging so you can see this is their custom division box, and that is because this is a custom division. For those of you who aren't Shirogorov followers, there's kind of 3 tiers of Shirogorovs. They have their production line, which that tends to be, it's kind of put together through a high-end production manufacturing process, maybe similar to like Custom Knife Factory or some of the other like high-end shops. I've also owned one of those. I actually ended up giving that to a friend of mine way back when, and he still has it. And that's kind of the most production oriented. They're still high-end knives. They still cost a lot of money. I don't know what they run for now, but expect to pay, I don't know, between $700 and $1,000 for those. The custom division is the next step up, and my understanding is that the difference is a custom division is put together by one person. Could be wrong on that or misleading you. I haven't spoken to the Shirogorov people a lot. That's just kind of what the research, the background research I've done tells me. And then you also have the Sergei Shirogorov, I might be mispronouncing that name, full customs, which you can tell if it's one of their full customs because the hardware is called, it looks kind of like a duck's foot. It's kind of like a triangle and it's rounded on the edges. It's also kind of like, I don't want to say off-center, but like it's similar in this pattern to where it's like the cutout doesn't go all the way to the edges. And my understanding is that that knife is put together by Sergei himself. Those demand 12 grand pending the flavor and steel and desirability. The custom divisions sit between 2,500 to 4,500, something like that. It kind of depends on the desirability of that particular model. Shirogorov also does a lot of collaborations, and their collaborations between different makers also vary in price depending on popularity, and they have a lot of different flavors of those. In general, I would say Shirogorov makes pretty great knives. The design on them is nice. Let's get into the packaging so I can get this off and we can talk more about it. But yep, so they send you this nice matte black package here, and it's got a little case inside where they have a cloth with the Shirogorov logo there. Nice little dust cloth. Okay, let's get this out of here for a second. Okay, so like I had mentioned, or where I was going, Shirogorov makes some really nice knives. The design on these is excellent. The pocket clips on these are super well known. This particular one is in a seashell pattern, which is kind of this like wavy pattern. It kind of reminds people of a lines on a seashell. And this one also has like blue accents to it, so you can see that pivot collar is kind of a blue color. You can also see the Shirogorov logo engraved in the carbon fiber. Some Shirogorov knives also have the logo engraved onto the blades. We'll bring you around here, get a good view of that carbon fiber. I'm a huge fan of their carbon fiber, and I like carbon fiber knives in general. I just think they look nice, they're lightweight, they're easy to carry. I don't know, carbon fiber has kind of been in favor and fallen out of favor, but it's still one of my favorite materials. And then this is a frame lock. You can see it does have a screw for a lock bar insert, which you can see the lock bar insert there. And you can see that we have a matching blue clip and matching blue backspacer. It's kind of a geared backspacer. It's not super aggressive, but it gives you a little bit of traction. You do have a lanyard hole, however, you have to take apart the knife in order to really get something in there because you can't really wedge it down in there and then pull it back up without really damaging the knife. So I had taken the knife apart, which is why the screws were a little boogered up, but as you can see now, the screws are in great shape. And I'm probably not going to put a lanyard back on it just because I don't really want to tear it up again. But you can see that seashell pattern continues to the titanium. And the titanium is also kind of a blue, gray, black. It does stand out against the pocket clip. And then the blade on this guy, oh, little misfire there, is also a stonewashed, dark wash PVD coating. It's black, but it looks like it's stonewashed. And this might be kind of hard to see, but maybe you can see it right there. This is in 3V. I don't know everything about Shirogorovs. I know that 3V is probably not one of their more common steels. I know they work a lot with M390 and variants. I'm in a Shirogorov Facebook group, and I was told that 3V is not the most common steels that they've used, so I guess it's unique in that way. Give you a look at the lock bar there. You can kind of see that. Lock bar insert. And another thing I will try to point out, it's always hard to film, maybe with a little help. You can see right there, Custom Division 72. So this is one of their older Shirogorov models. And I think it's their Gen 1, which obviously they're not making those anymore. They're pretty rare. And this particular one is on washers. This was my first like really high-end washer knife. And I have to say, I was pretty unsure about washers because I had gotten a lot of bearing knives with bearings. And I really liked those. That being said, I don't know what Shirogorov does, but the detent on this is great. The action on it is awesome. It's really, really smooth. Like when you take the pressure off the lock bar, it'll swing down, and it operates very easily. To me, Shirogorovs are like, I don't want the perfect knife sounds maybe a little misleading, but like when I think of a pocket knife or a custom pocket knife, this is something that comes to mind. Like it's a design that's well executed. It's got the technology, like lock bar inserts and lock bar over travel stops that are internal. It's got some exotic materials. I guess 3V, you can consider that maybe it's not that exotic, but it used to be a little more popular. And I know carbon fiber is not necessarily everybody's first choice of exotic material, but you can get other things on this. They make them in Damascus or other different materials with inlays and stuff. But where I was going with that, really outside of the materials of this particular build, is that the execution is flawless, the technology is there, and it just works. Like when you get it out, you flip it, you get it. Now this one needs to be broken in again because I guess when they replaced it, it's possible they replaced some of the internals. And this thing is, stiff is the wrong word because it's not. It's very smooth, but it used to be even smoother. And it's Shirogorov, like the knives, it just makes sense. Like you pick it up and it's exactly like what you would think it is. And I think that level of execution and benchmark is, to me, impressive, and it speaks to the quality of the Shirogorov knives. Like I said, I had one of their more production mid-tech variants. Their custom divisions are a big step up. The action on the other one was really nice. It was also a Hati. That's what the model of this one is. It's a Hati. It was a Gen 1 on washers, and its action broke in pretty well. It's not like this one. This one, like, it's really impressive. It feels like it could be just on, like, really, it could be on bearings with a really tight pivot or something. Like, that's how quickly it fires. The detent on this thing is tuned to perfection. You can flip it however you would like to. You don't need to be like really pressing down on the lock bar in order to get great results with it. The blade shape is pretty usable. It's a big flat grind on both sides. which makes it pretty good for slicing. This is not wearing a Shirogorov edge, or I don't believe it is. I have sharpened this knife. I don't know if they chose to resharpen it or not from the factory. It's, as you can see, it's got a mirror finish on there, although maybe it needs to be touched up. It's probably not the cleanest mirror finish you've ever seen, but nonetheless. So yeah, as terms of usability, carryability, this knife is awesome. Its clip is very usable. It's not too tight. If you have like really thick pants, you know, you probably struggle with a lot of pocket knife clips. This one is pretty easy for me to work with. It's maybe not exactly deep carry, because you'll still probably see this much sticking out of your pocket, but I think most people in the knife game don't care or aren't worried about that. At least at this level of knives, that's not a huge priority for them. The accents, I guess I should have mentioned, these are all anodized titanium if I didn't already. So yeah, this is a interesting flavor of Shirogorov. I've never seen another knife with kind of this like blacked out blade. I don't know if they've done another one like it or not, but nonetheless, it's like I don't see like totally blacked out Shirogorovs with these like accents on there. So that's kind of unique. Let me get some size comparisons out just so you can kind of see what I'm looking at here. It's kind of a bigger knife. This is my Dalibor Draco. And you can see, as far as lengthwise goes, the Dalibor has kind of a giant handle, so they end up being around the same length, but like handle to blade, you can see how much more the Dalibor has. Just for thickness, see the Dalibor is quite a bit stouter, both in blade and in handles. So I guess that speaks to the carryability of the Shirogorov, or the overbuiltness of the Dalibor. Pull out another one here. This is my Jeremy Marsh Rockstar, full-size Rockstar. So we can put these next to each other. In my opinion, size-wise, these are maybe a slightly closer comparison. I don't have the measurements of the blade right next to me, but their Hatis are popular, and you can find online what the dimensions exactly are. But yeah, you can kind of see it's pretty carryable. Maybe we'll put one more out here. A Steve Skiff culprit. This has been one of my newer acquisitions recently, and it's a nice knife here. It's a little bit smaller, so yeah, you kind of get a look there. And now let's talk about like usability. I've had Shirogorovs that had jimping up here. I like jimping. Is it necessary? Maybe not. I still like it. But this one has a like nice, like smooth spot for your finger to sit. So it's not a huge deal that you don't have jimping, because even if you were hard using this knife, you're not going to slide up over this flipper tab. It does have this notch. It is really not a sharpening notch, in my opinion, because the way the blade kind of comes down is like you would start to grind this up if you put stones on it there. So I maybe would call it more stylistic than anything else. The rest of the handle, it fits your hand really well. It flows really well. I have medium, large-ish hands, depending on what kind of glove you're looking at. And you could have definitely bigger hands than I do, and you're not going to run out of room with this knife. You can handle it in a variety of ways. I don't really ever reverse grip my knives. For me, it's maybe a little awkward, only because it's got enough handle to where like my thumb doesn't like sit perfectly on top of my hand. And again, the backspacer doesn't provide a ton of traction, so that's another thing. As far as general traction goes, the carbon fiber and titanium both provide adequate traction for using the knife. This isn't really a hard-use knife to me, and I'd say most of my customs aren't really hard-use knives. Even the production variants are expensive enough to where I don't think most people would probably choose to hard-use them. That being said, like even if your hands were a little bit wet or something, like you could still get some purchase on this. So yeah, that is about all I have for you here, but we'll give you one more look around and then we will call it while we're still ahead. And I'm sorry for my fingerprints on that. The blade is really clean, but it picks up fingerprints, and in this lighting, they're really easy to see.